Aries Girl Podcast. Welcome to the Aries Girl Podcast. I'm your host, Aries Ramsey. All commentary provided in this video is alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only, under the guidance of the Fair Use Act of 1976. Well, now that we have that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into the show. Hello Zodiacs, we've got to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 8, Episode 14 entitled, Girls Getaway. From me, this was a girls' trip where some of the girls were definitely tripping. Let's hit the highlights of the show, to do what needs to be done, say what needs to be said, and drag who needs to be dragged. In the first scene, we are already on the island of St. Thomas, and the views are absolutely gorgeous and breathtaking. Melody and two of her actual real friends, Dr. Shanita Foster and Lauren Harrison, pull up at the rental house and marvel over the landscape and how relaxing it is. Melody goes into confessional to say that she has traveled out of the country more since she has been divorced than she ever had before in her entire life. And back in scene, the ladies are greeted at the door by celebrity chef, Julius Jackson from the Food Network. Melody tells her friends that she wants to do the room assignments before everyone else gets there. And Melody admitted that she wasn't trying to have people pull on straws to get their rooms. I'm so glad that she didn't do something silly like have a twerk contest for the best room like on other reality shows. It often makes me wonder if reality show cast members are required to complain about their rooms as a term of their employment, or if people just feel that entitled, but let's move on. Melody goes back into confessional to state that she hasn't done any pre-planning when it comes to the rooms, so she's going to do a walkthrough of the home to see who should be where. And regardless, we already know that someone isn't going to be happy with their room, because room assignments and selections always go awry on reality show cast trips. The main suite of the house was named the Olympus for all of the right reasons. It had beautiful balcony views and a jacuzzi, and of course, this would be Melody's room because she is the host of the trip. The Oasis suite was super cute. It was secluded and had its own separate entrance. This room went to Melody's friend Lauren after a friendly game of pick a name card. Lauren and Shanita both wanted the room, so Melody held up two beautifully printed name card tents and told Lauren that the room went to whomever's name was on the card that she chose. Luckily for Lauren, she chose her own name and was the recipient of that suite. Now, the next room viewed was the Sanctuary Suite, and it was just as cute as the Oasis Suite, and it had a private balcony and full bathroom. The names of the other suites were the Liana, which had a private bath and outdoor seating. The Poinciana Junior Suite featured two queen beds and a private patio. The Frangipani Junior Suite featured a private bathroom and outdoor seating. And finally, there was the Powder Puff Kids Suite with 3 full beds and 1 shared bathroom. Melody's rationale was that Kimmy and Tisha are sisters-in-law, so they should be together. And let's all remember that Tisha asked to bring a +1, so it just makes sense that this room should be shared by Kimmy, Tisha, and the quote-unquote +1. Melody assigned Nell her own room because she is the elder and the mentor. Somehow, Melody's printer failed to print a name card tent with Nell Fletcher's name on it, and this is going to bring out the most childish and asinine behavior from Nell. Since Trisha and Stormy are really good friends, Melody had them share the room that had 2 beds. I believe that this was the Poinciana Suite. Melody explained to Lauren and Shanita that she was putting Sunny in a room by herself because everyone was saying how they weren't feeling Sunny at the food tasting. Now, to me, this makes logical sense, and I am a stickler for things based off of facts and logic. However, not all people make decisions based on logic and facts, which can still be fine in some cases, as long as the facts aren't ignored. But let us not forget that Mel is dealing with some people who mainly operate based on their feelings. Unfortunately for Melody, facts and logic went out the window and blew away with the tropical breeze in St. Thomas, and you're going to see that with Tisha and Kimmy later in the episode. They were both on some facts and logic be damned silliness. In the next scene, we meet up with Nell, Trisha, Tisha, Stormy, and Kimmy at the airport heading to baggage claim. Nell goes into confessional to say that she's excited and she knows that this trip is going to be amazing because she'll have some downtime away from her adult children. She'll miss Chris a little bit, but this is going to be her time. Back in scene, I got irritated because things felt really scripted with a damsel in distress vibe and tease. Kimmy, Tisha, and Nell were all wishing for their husbands to be there to retrieve their bags from the luggage conveyor belt, and Kimmy even said that girls' trips were overrated. I was just waiting for Stormy to wish Courtney was there and for Trisha to follow suit, but it didn't happen. I was also shocked that Trisha wasn't wishing that both her husband Marquez and her side piece Ken were both there to get her luggage because I thought she wasn't following the script, but I quickly remembered that she's physically fit and could lift everyone's bags, probably with one hand. Trisha and Stormy were full-grown women and got their luggage off of the conveyor belt without complaining. I have to give credit where credit is due. Trisha and Stormy weren't on that woe is me. I'm a helpless damsel in distress, and I need a man because I'm weak and fragile BS. Here's a pro tip for Tisha, Kimmy, and Nell. Don't pack what you can't carry when you go on a trip. And of course, in walks Sunny, and almost instantly, everyone's demeanor changed, and they all seemed fake surprised to see Sunny. Now, I say fake surprised, because the fact that they are all at the airport, at the same time, at the same baggage claim area makes me think they all took the same flight on the same plane to St. Thomas. Regardless of Sunny possibly leaving from St. Louis, Missouri and the rest of the cast leaving from Huntsville or Birmingham, Alabama, I'm willing to bet that the international flight to St. Thomas left from Atlanta, Georgia or Miami, Florida. Now, most airlines don't have a multitude of flights arriving in St. Thomas every day from the States. I did my due diligence and noticed that American Airlines, Delta, and United each have around 3 flights per day landing in St. Thomas from Miami and Atlanta. Also, these different airlines do not arrive on the island at the same time. The flights are spaced out at least 1 to 2 hours apart. If you've ever flown to an island, the odds are that the airport is small, which means the customs areas are small as well. And trust me, the airport doesn't want more people arriving in the same time period than customs can handle. So, in order for the ladies to be at the airport at the same time in the baggage claim area, odds are they would have all taken the same flight there. If I'm right, and I think I am, you mean to tell me that they didn't see each other on the plane? Let me be messy and say that I doubt that production had some or all of them flying first class like I normally fly. Sorry for the humble brag, but if they are allegedly only getting paid $2,500 an episode, Carlos King is not springing for first class tickets. So they all would have seen one another in coach and business class on the plane. Even if at least one person flew first class, they would have seen everyone else boarding the plane, because first class is seated and exits before everyone else, which is why this Aries girl flies first class, not to mention you get much better snacks and free alcohol. Also, even if they didn't see each other on the plane, I'm willing to bet they saw one another at the gate before they boarded the flight to St. Thomas. So the shenanigans and fakery in the baggage claim area were unnecessary, even if it was done for dramatic purposes by production, but I digress. Sunny walked up to them and spoke by saying, "Hi ladies." Kimmy gives Sunny a hug and speaks back, while Tisha gives Sunny a blank stare before saying anything. And actually, Sunny had to say Tisha's name before she even responded. Now, Tisha's blank stare may be due to the fact that she is being ultra rude, or is it due to the fact that Tisha realized that she accidentally twirled Destiny's world with the invite because Sunny is there? Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when your BS backfires. Kimmy goes into confessional to say that she didn't know Sunny was coming and that it changes everything. And I just want to call BS on this, because I think Kimmy knew Sunny was coming. Maybe I'm wrong, but if she didn't actually know that Sunny was coming, well good then, because Kimmy got what she deserved. But Kimmy, why would everything change? Please elaborate on what you said in your confessional, because it sounds like you all planned something nefarious. And in Tisha's confessional, she says that she's quite surprised to see Sunny there, and that since Destiny is coming, she's not sure how it's going to go because it was supposed to be a fun trip. Now, my question is, with Tisha knowing that Destiny is one of Melody's ops, who was the trip supposed to be fun for with Destiny being there? Kimmy throws everyone under the bus by yelling out, "Y'all wasn't gonna talk to her." Yes, she said it with that broken grammar. Now, when they are all getting in the transport shuttle, Kimmy blurts out that they are going to have problems. Oh really, Kimmy? You think so? Since it appears that Destiny didn't fly in with you all, Perhaps you should have taken that opportunity to call Destiny to tell her to stay in Huntsville because Sunny was in St. Thomas. I mean, that is, if you are truly Team Destiny. And if Destiny is your friend, shouldn't you and Tisha have done that, Kimmy? In Sunny's confessional, she says that she's feeling like it is the first day of high school and she's meeting a new crew of girls, and she hates that these girls think that she is that girl who steals someone's man, because she's never been that girl, and it doesn't feel good to be judged by it. Now, let's break things down into bite-sized nuggets, with Sunny feeling like she's being judged by the women in the shuttle as being someone who goes after other people's men. First of all, Nell and Kimmy started off as side chicks with Chris and Maurice, so they essentially did take someone else's man. I don't care how you slice it, if a person is still legally married while they are dating you, you are a side piece. A legal separation is not the same as a divorce. Sunny also shouldn't let any opinion that Trisha may have towards her make her feel uneasy, because Trisha is a whole mess. Everyone is wondering if she fooled around with Martel Holt while he was still legally married to Melody, and we aren't even going to get into Trisha still being legally married to Marquez and moving her side dude Ken into her house with her and her kids. Now, Tisha and Stormy aren't totally innocent. Just like people suborn perjury in court, these two suborn side pieces. Yeah, I said it. In fact, I'm going to coin a new term called suborning side pieces. Tisha knew that Martel was cheating on Melody with Ariane and probably found out from Marceau. She was on the mute challenge in regards to telling Melody apparently, and she knew this at the time she claimed she was Melody's friend. And if Tisha knew about Ariane Curry, you can rest assured that Kimmy knew as well. Also, Stormy more than likely knows the details of whatever happened between Trisha and Martel. Plus, she also knew Ariane Curry, so Stormy as well suborned a side chick, not to mention how she overlooks Trisha's side dude Ken. Remember at Kimmy's tasting how everyone went to bat for Trisha, trying to explain to Kimmy that Trisha was married, but not to Ken, who was sitting next to her. Funny how they all defended the mess Trisha and Ken were in, but have so much smoke and vitriol towards Sunny in regards to Moses. And let's remember that these are two people who were not married to anyone else at the time they started dating one another. But Sunny and Moses are married now, and these women who love to act like the champions of marriage need to respect the fact that Sunny and Moses are husband and wife, point blank period. Yet these same women are rooting for a 15-year side chick named Destiny. Please, miss me with the hypocrisy. Sorry for going off on that tangent, but it had to be said. Back in scene, some cute young greeters showed up at the vacation house, and Melody stated that it is always helpful to have some eye candy around on a girls' trip. I agree with this, Melody. I agree wholeheartedly. And yes, Shanita, it could be how Stella got her groove back. And yes, what happens on the island should stay on the island. Cheers to that. In the next scene, we are back on the shuttle with the ladies as they are taken to the house. When Nell asked Kimmy if she was excited to be on the trip, the best that she could say was that she was excited to see the house because she doesn't really do girls' trips. So why did you come, Kimmy? I'm guessing because it's free. And Stormy co-signed everything that Kimmy said and doubled down by stating that she has separation anxiety when she is away from her son. Tisha chimed in and suggested that Stormy would feel differently once her second child comes, and that she is now all about going on girls' trips. Is it me, or does Tisha Scott, champion of marriage and family, sound like she can't wait to get away from her husband and kids? Help me out because I'm confused. Sunny took this opportunity to join the conversation and ask Stormy if she was currently planning her second child. So Stormy shared her surrogacy journey and Sunny shared her IVF journey. I was really put off that only Stormy initially had any sympathy or empathy for Sunny's struggles with IVF. In Stormy's confessional, she admits that it was shocking to learn of Sunny's infertility and that her heart goes out to Sunny. The other ladies eventually seemed compelled to say something supportive to Sunny after they completed their mute challenge, but it was rather dry. In Sunny's confessional, she speaks on how her body struggles producing eggs and how supportive Moses was. He told Sunny that he supported her on doing whatever it is she had to do in order to have their baby. It was hard for me to watch Sunny be vulnerable and emotional, and my heart went out to her, but I know that her story will help someone else. In the next scene, the shuttle arrives at the vacation rental and the ladies are also in awe of how beautiful everything is. As they enter the house, they are greeted with drinks by the 2 pieces of eye candy that Melody arranged, so things should be Gucci from here on out, right? because Kimmy is saying how pretty everything is. I mean, she goes into confessional bragging on how beautiful everything is, from the view through the patio doors with the ocean and the infinity pool, and even says that Melody has set the standard high and that she approved. But if you thought everything would be Gucci, you'd be wrong. After Melody hugged and greeted everyone, yes, everyone, Sunny goes into confessional to state that she is actually hoping to bond with Mel a little more because she has always liked Mel despite the situation with her and Destiny. Also, she wants to get to know Mel for herself. Sidebar. Now, we know that Sunny was Destiny's producer, and we know how Destiny likes to finesse the truth and turn things into something completely different. So I can only imagine the things that Destiny has said to Sunny about Melody that are loosely based on the truth. Back in scene, Melody introduces the ladies to her friends Shanita and Lauren, and Shanita proposes a toast to an amazing trip, good energy, and long-term friendship. Nell then goes into confessional to say that it doesn't get any better than this in reference to the eye candy, and sends a shout out to Chris to tell him that she loves him, but she's turning up right now. As they are all outside by the pool, Melody explains how she has chosen everyone's rooms and that she wants them to go find the room that they will be in. Plus, Melody has a surprise before dinner, and she wants to meet back up after they find their room to enjoy the appetizers prepared by the chef. Also, she tells them that the assigned rooms have name cards. So, what could go wrong? How about every damn thing? Because as the ladies are touring the house, we go back into Nell's confessional, where she says that she is ready to have a good time, find her room, and find her card, because she knows that Melody brings it, and always plans nice things. Now the ladies are going from room to room marveling at who they were assigned to, and Kimmy seemed to be a little too impressed with Sunny's room, especially since they appeared to have only gone to one other bedroom before they found Sunny's room. And when they made it to the suites with the multiple beds, I could hear the tone change in everyone's voices because they appeared to have lost all enthusiasm. Tisha was offended that she would be sharing a bathroom when they got to her suite. Again, Tisha knew that she'd be sharing a bedroom with Destiny just by asking to bring a +1, so sharing a bathroom as well shouldn't be a surprise. So Tisha's confessional bitching and complaining about how Mel chose the rooms set me off when she said that Mel chose the rooms on how she felt about each individual person. And the next thing out of Tisha's mouth is her saying that she doesn't care what Melody says. Let that marinate, because Tisha is admitting that even if the truth slapped her in the face, she is going to willingly refuse to believe it. This is a clue that you can't truly expect Tisha to be rational or logical about anything. She's going to see what she wants to see, hear what she wants to hear, and believe what she wants to believe. Those are just Tisha's feelings about the room assignment. Never ever did Melody state that she chose rooms based on how she felt about people. It is so very childish and disingenuous to project and display your thoughts and feelings as facts. What Tisha is saying is based on the headspace that she operates in, and here is another example of her displaying Big D for delusional energy. Tisha needs to learn how to differentiate between what is a fact and what is a feeling. Just because she thinks that something is true, it doesn't make it true, not unless she can back it up with tangible evidence. But I digress. It doesn't matter if Tisha sent Melody a text message saying that she was bringing her mother or her mother-in-law as a +1, you had already agreed that you would be sharing a room. The only question left to ask is if Tisha wants to share a room with only one bed in it, or does she want to share a room with 2 or more beds, because at the end of the day, you still agreed to share a room. Damn Tisha. Back in scene, Tisha says that she is done after she saw her room. I'm sorry, but that room had 3 full-size beds and was nice and spacious. Plus, it looked bigger than Tisha's current master bedroom, if you allow me to be petty. If Tisha doesn't like her assigned room, then she can sleep on the couch in the living room, instead of saying she was ready to get back to Huntsville, which was what was really disrespectful. Or Tisha could use her millionaire coins to go rent a different house for herself, Kimmy, and Destiny since they are all on the same team. Besides, didn't Marceau and Maurice allegedly fly there as well and rent somewhere to stay? Just go be with your husbands if you can, and if they will let you. I'm just saying, even if they just rented hotel rooms, you can go somewhere else. Regardless, Tisha, grow up, sweetheart. It's not that serious. Hell, sleep outside poolside. Just stop complaining. Meanwhile, Nell is getting louder and louder about not being able to find her room, and even goes into confessional to tell us about it. Then, Nell tells Melody that everyone had a bed but her. However, a quick head count and bed count would have told Nell otherwise. It's just common sense, and knowing how to count. But anyway, Melody explains that her name card tent didn't get printed, unfortunately, and explained to Nell which bedroom was hers and why. Then Nell, the oldest person there, started acting like a damn child over a piece of paper. I mean, even more childish than Tisha. This sent me, and apparently it sent Shanita too, because at that moment, we had the same look on our faces. As Melody explained to Nell why she got the biggest room, due to her being the elder and the mentor, it seemed to worsen Nell's temper tantrum. I hope and pray that Nell was joking or sticking to the script about not being the oldest one there and being shaded about it. Someone make it make sense. Meanwhile, Tisha goes outside with her little backpack on her back to have her temper tantrum, and I guess Kimmy felt obligated to run after her in order to coddle her. I'm not sure why Trisha followed them to check on them, but she did. And we get a Trisha confessional for her opinion on the room assignments. Yeah, Trish, we get it. Grown women are acting like children. Thanks so much for the over-explanation. This is where Tisha goes into her spiel to Kimmy about the room being disrespectful and how she's not staying in it. Oh my god, this scene is draining my energy, especially when Trisha reiterates that Tisha said the room is very, very disrespectful, and then Trisha wanted to know who Shanita was. How about who the F are you, Trisha? Answer that first. Because Trisha girl, you and that Chia Pet wig were already introduced to Shanita earlier. Just stop with the foolishness. Melody told you that Shanita and Lauren are her friends. Why are you asking Tisha and Kimmy? Tisha goes into confessional and calls the room shitty, and alludes that she's quote-unquote got you in reference to Melody assigning that room to her. Wait, what in the actual fuck? Did she really just call that room shitty? The delusions of grandeur and sense of entitlement are off the freaking charts right now. Tisha, Kimmy, and Trisha are doing the absolute most in this moment, and it is not cute. Nell going into confessional to say how she handles things as a grown woman did not move me because her actions and reactions have shown nothing more than a childish temper tantrum. And yes, Nell, you took care of Melody in Houston, but you needed to take extra precaution because Martell was under the same roof. But thanks production for rolling the prior footage. Nell has a nice room there on the island. Hell, every room is a nice room. So Nell should move the F on. Nell should not be angry over a freaking piece of cardstock paper, and the fact that Melody had to break things down regarding her love for Nell, and their history together in bite-sized pieces, for her to understand that it wasn't intentional for her name card not to be printed, proved to me that Nell was acting like a child. Melody shouldn't have to explain things like Nell is a 4-year-old. Hell, Melody would have had less drama taking her own children on this trip than dealing with these childish women. Shanita should not have had to offer her room to Nell Fletcher in order to keep the peace. I'm just highly disappointed in Nell, and it is all over a piece of paper. When Sunny informed Melody that Tisha and Kimmy weren't happy about their rooms either, I think Melody was probably wishing that she hadn't extended that invite to everyone at Kimmy's tasting. Melody goes into confessional and says that it is not the energy that she expected on day one in St. Thomas and that it was draining. So, Melody goes outside and finds the bitter Scott sisters-in-law to discuss their room assignment. They complained about their room being the smallest space in the house, and I'm just trying to figure out if they expected Melody to move the 3 beds to a larger room, or if they expected Lauren and Shanita to have to share a room so that they could have private suites. Wait, I bet that Tisha and Kimmy think that Shanita and Lauren shouldn't even be in St. Thomas, and that they should be sleeping in those 2 rooms assigned to Shanita and Lauren. That's got to be it. And then, I guess Destiny would have been alone in a room with 3 beds. Make it make sense please, because Kimmy and Tisha are making my head hurt. No Tisha, that room doesn't represent how Melody feels about you. Tisha seems to be the type of person that should never be left alone with their thoughts, because whatever silliness she imagines, she believes, and like I said earlier, she considers a lot of her wild thoughts to be fact, and a lot of what she thinks doesn't have any basis in reality, let alone a basis in facts. It's just what is going on in her head. I was just looking at my TV and shaking my head at some of these women for being so petty and childish, and most importantly, unappreciative. Tisha going into confessional wanting Melody to admit to having feelings that Melody does not have is effing crazy, and Tisha calling Melody a liar because she won't admit to something that isn't true is even more effing crazy. Tisha claims that she doesn't want to ruin the trip, but that ship sailed already. Not only did she invite Destiny and texted Melody to notify her, Tisha also is complaining about her accommodations, and it is so off-putting. Never mind the fact that she is putting words into Melody's mouth about how bedrooms were chosen. Seriously, Tisha Scott does not need to be left alone with her own thoughts. Here's a pro tip for Tisha: you can't accuse someone of lying and then wonder why they don't fess up to a false accusation, and ultimately wish they would just tell the truth. Melody told you the truth when she told you the reason she assigned you that room. How about Tisha just needs to learn to accept the truth? Damn. The conversation is not a disagreement. It's a prime example of Tisha Scott not knowing how to accept any truth that makes her uncomfortable, or any truth that doesn't go along with the fantasy world that she wants to live in. But thank goodness she had to suffer through her temper tantrum just for her and Kimmy to stay in the room that already was assigned to them. Yay for us, I guess. Shortly afterwards, Melody goes to talk to Kimmy and Tisha, and Sunny then suggests that Nell or someone go out and see how things are going with the three of them. Ladies and gentlemen, that suggestion really backfired because Nell went to check on them. During the conversation, Nell Fletcher is mildly popping off about the unwelcome people showing up on the Houston trip. I say mildly, because Nell Fletcher is usually more animated when she pops off. We all know that they were referencing the late Kiki Jabbar. However, during the time of the filming, Kiki was still with us. Rest in peace, Kiki. I still can't believe that she's gone. I just wanted to mention that caveat so that no one thinks that anyone in this scene was being disrespectful towards Kiki's memory as they discussed how they sucked things up in Houston. When Nell told Kimmy and Tisha that they were going to have to suck things up on this trip as well, Kimmy got a little rah-rah. Unfortunately, Kimmy thought it was a good idea to get in Nell's face and space to start waving her hands and telling her that quote, "This right here, we don't need." Now, I assume that Kimmy meant that Nell's fussing wasn't needed, but why did she literally step to her to say what she said? Normally, when someone steps in your face, starts waving their hands, and is trying to tell you off, it doesn't end well, especially overseas. Nonetheless, Kimmy told Nell that she wasn't a part of the conversation and that she doesn't need another grown-up telling her what she has to suck up. Now, Kimmy goes into confessional to reiterate that she doesn't need Nell in this conversation, at all, ever. And I have to agree with Kimmy here, because Nell did insert herself into the conversation. Of course, Kimmy doesn't know that Nell was asked to go check on all of them, and Nell being Nell, isn't going to tell Kimmy that information while she is popping off. So things are going to be worse than they have to be with this conversation. And when Nell had a wardrobe malfunction with her nipple exposed, Tisha then got in Nell's face and in her clothes to cover her boob back up. As I watched Tisha do that, I was thinking that Nell was going to knock Tisha what some people call the F out, but Nell didn't, to my surprise. Nell goes into confessional and even says that she doesn't know what Tisha was doing, and Nell channeled her inner Kenya Moore and said that Tisha shouldn't come for her unless Nell sends for her because she bites back. Back in scene, Kimmy and Tisha are now extra rah-rah. Kimmy is claiming her ass was there for Nell to kick, and Tisha was talking about snatching wigs. Just stop. Just please stop. Lucky for Kimmy and Tisha, Nell went back inside. She was still popping off and claiming how Tisha and Kimmy were full of shit and that she'd be the one to whip their ass. I low-key want to see Nell do this, but just wait until you get back to the States. You never want to be locked up out of the country. Meanwhile, Melody is trying to bring the temperature down with a woosah exercise, while Kimmy is trying to calm down by leaning on the balcony railing talking about this is why she doesn't do girls' trips. Then, we go into Kimmy's confessional, where she over-explains why she doesn't do girls' trips. She's right. It's a bunch of women with a bunch of personalities, strong opinions, and arguing, and then wonders how it's fun, and that arguing with Nell was not on her things to do list. I cannot with Kimmy and Tisha right now. They started this crap with their strong opinions and personalities. Do you notice the hypocrisy here? I wish that the Scotts would just go back to Huntsville because I have had enough of them in this episode. Plus, Kimmy didn't have to engage Nell. She could have just ignored her because Nell Fletcher pops off all the damn time. Nothing here was new. But then Nell goes into confessional, talking about how she's ready to leave. Melody takes Miss Nell aside to tell her that she was doing a lot, but Nell was right. Tisha should not have put her hands on Nell. I don't care if Nell's entire chest was exposed. Both of those Scott women got in her personal space, and it really seems like Nell held back from swinging just from the way she was talking to Melody. Now, knowing Nell Fletcher, she's been wanting to swing on Tisha since Tisha acted a complete fool and embarrassed herself at her birthday party, so I understand Nell in this moment. Plus, Tisha trying to calm Kimmy down by telling her to stay calm and think about the sand on the beach was comical, especially since Tisha was crying over a bedroom and threatening to snatch wigs off just moments prior. This scene needs to end because even Melody is ready to leave the trip. In the next scene, it appears that everyone who needed to calm down has somewhat gotten calm, and all of the ladies are gathered together in the main room. Then, Melody literally twirls in and announces that she brought Carnival to the vacation house since they wouldn't be there during the St. Thomas Carnival season. The ladies doing the pre-dinner carnival-style entertainment were spectacular. They danced with the ladies and handed out gift bags that Melody had for them. Trisha and her wig got up and danced. And Kimmy got up and tried to dance while asking for her bag, maybe because it was free. No comment on your dance moves, Kimmy. No comment from the Aries Girl podcast. Let's move on, but thanks for telling us that you still have high hopes for this trip in your umpteenth confessional of the episode. Melody asked the Island Boys if they knew how to move their hips, and they even joined in the fun. Okay Melody, we see you dear. Sunny went into confessional and said that she thought that Stella was getting her groove back and she was excited to see Melody have a little fun. The ladies then got seated for dinner, and the conversation proved to be enlightening for some. Kimmy liked that Shanita said that you know who your friends are by how they treat you when things don't go your way. Could it be because that is how Kimmy feels towards Tisha? I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for a friend. Tisha made a dig at Mel about her single friends, and Shanita masterfully checked Tisha without being rude and got Tisha to tell on herself by admitting that she could sit at a table and eat with people she wasn't friends with after Stormy admitted that Tisha didn't like her. This is why Shanita told Melody to watch Tisha, and of course, it made me laugh out loud. Tisha going into confessional and calling Shanita Melody's bodyguard was not a good look on Tisha, nor was saying how Shanita had an opinion about everyone without knowing them, and the crack about heated moments makes her sound like she wishes negativity and drama into existence, far too often. Who says stuff like that on purpose other than Tisha? Also, who's sitting at that table believes Tisha when she says she's mature enough to have an adult conversation with someone she doesn't like? Let me be the first to say, not me girl, not me at all. Tisha can barely have adult conversations with people she does like on account of her being so childish. Melody goes into confessional and says that if they are going to talk about sitting at the table with people they don't like, Trish and Sunny need to be involved in the conversation because even though they are new to the group, there are some conversations that need to be had. And Melody let the shit hit the fan back in scene by saying out loud that Trisha has a problem with Sunny because of Destiny. I'm pretty sure that I temporarily stopped breathing because I was in denial that Melody said it, out loud, with her whole chest. But once I gathered myself and remembered to inhale and exhale, I heard myself saying out loud, yes Melody, say that ish, say it, because it needed to be said. Of course Trisha denied it, but on last week's episode, at Kimmy's tasting, Trisha was handling Destiny's feelings with kid gloves surrounding Sunny, so I'm confusion. Stormy comes to Trisha's defense by telling Melody that what she said was like a ball drop. Whatever Stormy. But I wonder if Tisha is going to call Stormy Trisha's bodyguard in the same way that she claims that Shanita is Melody's bodyguard. Somebody please let me know. Melody explains to Shanita and Lauren Sunny's history with the show and with Destiny and Moses, and after getting the gist of the entanglement, Shanita said that people should be mad at Moses. Of course, the BS about Destiny, considering Sunny a friend, was coming from so many directions, and Shanita asked what defined a friend. Trisha tries to explain, but Shanita lets her know that what she is describing is a working relationship. And how many times do I need to say that Trisha should never, ever, 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 never give an opinion on anyone's relationship, whether it be a friendship, marriage, situationship, adultering affair. Hell, she doesn't need to give an opinion on anyone's spades partner. Anytime Trisha is asked about a relationship, her answer should be two simple words: no comment. Now, while everyone is going back and forth, Nell blows things up by asking if Destiny is coming because she doesn't like talking about someone when they aren't present. But Nell had no problem talking about Sunny in her absence from Kimmy's tasting, so miss me with the BS, because the smile on Tisha's face as Nell said that told me everything I needed to know. When Shanita asked why Tisha would invite somebody who Mel had history with, Tisha started talking in her baby voice, saying that Mel said she can invite a +1. Now, just a moment ago, Tisha was speaking on how she was an adult and a grown woman, so I need her to never, ever talk in this childish baby voice ever again. But it was fitting because her rationale and reasoning for inviting Destiny was childish, so I guess her voice needed to match it. And Shanita reiterated to Melody that Tisha needed to be watched. Kimmy just looked guilty and deflated. But whatever, was this a look of guilt and shame? Wait, I don't even care. Let's move on. Shanita also told Melody to be cautionary of Tisha. So, Tisha went back into her grown-up voice to defend her actions by saying that Destiny was a part of the circle. Now, in her confessional, Tisha said that she wasn't playing into the game because Mel saw the text message, and she showed the text. Tisha even admitted that she got the room she got because of the same text message. So, what was all the crying for Tisha? If Tisha was really grown, she would have told Melody that she was bringing Destiny at Kimmy's tasting, because I seriously wonder if Destiny had attended the tasting, if Melody would have given her an invite to St. Thomas. Tisha is not able to sell me on the fact that she invited Destiny because she wants everyone to have a good time. But you tried it, Tisha, you tried it. Shanita reading Tisha down at the end of the episode was everything. I agree with everything Shanita said about Tisha choosing who and what she wants to choose and that the other person has to deal with the ramifications. And when Shanita said that she thought that there were a whole bunch of people sitting at the table that were the ops, she got my utmost respect. The ops are always linking up against Melody every single chance they get. Like Cardi B said, enough is enough. The complaining that Tisha did in her confessional that she wasn't having a good old time with Mel's single friends gave me what I needed. But I wonder what is supposed to go down if Mel doesn't own it. Tisha, stop speaking in subliminals. Tell us verbatim. Because I wonder how Tisha thinks Melody will feel seeing Destiny arrive at the trip. She is becoming just as willfully blind and ignorant as Kimmy is. I would switch out so many people at this table just for Shanita and Lauren, but I know that Shanita is done with reality television, so it won't happen. Damn. Okay, Zodiacs, let's wrap up this episode. Nell, Fletcher, Tisha, and Kimmy did the most and were helpless, childish, and rah-rah as hell. Stormy was genuinely nice and empathetic towards Sunny, even if it was only for a moment, then her true colors showed later on. Trisha partially unlocked her jaw and started talking. Maybe it was that wig that she was wearing that gave her a new lease on life, who knows, but I wasn't interested in what she had to say. Sunny showed how she could be vulnerable and cordial around people who don't see it for her. Lauren was just quiet, cute, and sweet. Shanita is the type to check a person in their face in real time, and in that precise moment. And Melody kept it a buck and said, F Destiny with her whole chest. That gave me my entire life, and it also took the wind out of Destiny's fan base sitting at the table. That gave what it needed to give. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And why not go ahead and support the channel by subscribing so that you never miss an episode of the Aries Girl podcast. I will see you on the next video. Until then, take care.